All right, let's dive into some of the more complex tour structures that you can set up for your business. So I'm just going to set up another service here, and we'll just call this Jeff's Test. And we don't need any of this information here. Okay. So just for the sake of this video, I'm going to use like different types of variations. They're not all part of the same service, but just to keep things simple and all on one page. So first, what I'm going to do is set up a slightly more challenging one than the one we just did, which is a kayak rental service. That's pretty basic. Essentially, one person rents out one kayak. They get it for this certain amount of time, and that's it. What I'll set up now is we offer a jet ski snorkel tour. And this, again, is not shared because, for example, same example I gave before, but if 3 people were to book and we have 2 people per jet ski, we're not going to have another group jump on someone else's jet ski. So this would be a non-shared activity, and we'll just do full payment for everything, and we'll make that $300. Then I'm going to call this actually a single rider. And then I'll do the same thing and call it a double rider. And same thing, not shared. And the deposit, we'll just do full payment. And we'll say this is $400. Then I'm going to add something like parasailing. This is shared. And we'll just do full payment for everything again. And we'll say this is $100 per person. And then we're going to do the all-day action pass. And this is not shared. And this is full payment. And this is $200. All right, that should get us through most of what we need. All right. So let's get down to the resources, and this is where things get exciting. So for our jet ski snorkel tour, we're going to use customer equipment, and we're actually using all 3, which is why this is a great example. And we're going to add new, and we're going to go, we're only using this for the jet ski snorkel tours, and we're going to choose an equipment. I already have my equipment, so I'll just use what I have here. Essentially, again, you click here if you need to add the different equipments you need to add, and then they'll show up here. So we'll say a jet ski, and we're going to say that this is resource-based. The reason is because they're just renting out the resource as it is. We don't charge per seat. Now, you'll notice a single rider is for 1 person on 1 jet ski, and a double rider is for 2 people on 1 jet ski, but they're still just getting 1 jet ski, regardless of which one they choose. All right, and we do this, it's 120 minutes. So it's a 2-hour tour, and they get 1 per package. So now I'm going to click add. And what that's going to do is that'll add this to the single. So you'll now see that here and here. And if I click on this one, you're going to see there's nothing there because we haven't added anything to these packages yet, these variations. We're just working with the top ones. Now you'll notice I didn't clear the fields here on purpose because it allows you to actually build things much faster. And I'm going to show you that right now. And that's basically what we're going to do now is add to the existing variation. Okay? The reason we're adding to the existing variation is I'm going to add a snorkel set for the customers. And basically, the snorkel gear is going to go out at the exact same time that the jet ski goes out. So once the jet ski leaves, the snorkel gear is with that jet ski and the customer, and they're gone for 2 hours. And when they come back, the jet ski comes back as well as the snorkel gear. Okay, so I'm going to choose snorkel gear. Okay. Now, let's say, where would you add new again? Let's say you do something where somebody does a jet ski tour, and then after the jet ski tour, immediately after, or with a gap, but their next activity they're going to do is a walking tour. So they go jet skiing for 2 hours, they come back and they do an hour walking tour. You would do add new because the walking tour is separate from that first variation, which is the jet ski stuff. Okay, so that's the difference between adding to an existing and adding new. Adding new means it's going one after another. Adding to an existing means it's part of the same time slot. So next we're going to add the snorkel gear, and this is also resource based, and we're going to say 1. Now we're going to actually modify this in the double rider, and I'm going to explain why in a second. So we're going to add 1, and now you'll notice that these are basically right next to each other. That means they're going out at the same time. Now the reason we're going to modify this resource is because for a double rider, even though they're 2 people on one jet ski, they would each need their own snorkel set. So we would put 2 there. So that allows you to modify exactly for your package. So they're getting 1 jet ski, but each person's getting their own snorkel set. And that's basically the customer equipment. Now, we'll also need for this tour is an employee. So we're going to switch this to an employee, and we're also going to add it to an existing because the employee is going out at the exact same time the jet ski and snorkel is going out. So this is already set up, and now we can say, since this is an easy activity, any one of our people can do this tour. They're all trained to do the tour. So essentially you can select all the people, and then you can say there's only 1 guide required, and then the max per. This is max per client. So many of you might work with cruise ship or big organizations and offer big tours, and you might have a limit as to how many guides you can take per amount of customers. For example, let's say you have 30 jet skis. You're not going to have 1 guide take out 30 people on a jet ski snorkel tour. That's just not a good safe ratio. So maybe you need 1 guide for every, let's say, 8 people. So in that case, you would put 8 here. Now what this does is, let's say you get a group that booked this tour at 10 a.m. on today's date, and a group of 6 booked. And then you get another group of 6 booking for the same date, same time. What that's going to do is, because now that's more than 8 people, it's now going to say you need 2 guides to do that. And it's going to remove another guide from your staff, because now you'll need 2 guides because there's 12 people, and that's more than 8. Okay. Now, once you've done that, now you can see that added all the employees. Any one of these employees, as long as they're available, can go out and they can take up to 8 customers. All right. Now we're going to add another thing, and we're actually going to add a company equipment. So for our jet ski snorkel tour example, the customers book their own equipment, but also our guide needs its own jet ski. He goes out on his own jet ski. So now we're going to choose another jet ski here, right here. And this is for both. And this is the same. Now we can set a max on this one as well. Generally, it's probably going to be the same. Actually, not generally. It's different each time. The reason is, so let's say, as an example, let's say we can take 16. Okay, we can take up to 16 customers, and the reason is because you can have 2 guides sharing 1 jet ski. So that's actually different than the amount of employees needed. So basically, what that means is, even if you were to get that same booking we talked about earlier, where you have 12 people booked for that same time, well, you're still going to only use 1 jet ski, because you can use 1 jet ski for up to 16 customers. Okay, but you still have 2 guides, which 2 guides can go on 1 jet ski, and now you have that ratio of 1 guide to 8 people. In this case, it would be 1 guide to 6 people, because you only booked for 12. All right, so that's a perfect example how those numbers can be different, or they can be the same. It's up to you. and we only need one piece of equipment. So one jet ski for up to 16 people. Now I'm going to add that, and that'll get added to the tours as well. So you can see for this tour to run, you need at least one jet ski per every customer that booked this package. You're going to need at least one jet ski for the customer. Sorry, this is for the company. One is for the customer, and you need 2 snorkel masks for every package that's booked as a double rider. And then in addition, you also need any one of these employees, okay? So any one of these employees, if they're available, the tour will go out, no problems. Now you can also say that, for example, you might need any 3 of these employees. So as long as 3 out of these employees are available, the tour will go out. Okay, so for this example, it's 1-to-1. All right, we're going to get into the parasailing example next, where I'll show you where this number is actually different. So now this tour is perfectly set up and it's ready to go. We have our customer equipment, our company equipment, and our employees. And this is actually one of our real tours, and this is exactly how we have this set up. All right, so I'm going to make these small for now, and now we're going to refresh this, and we're going to start again. Now we're going to do the parasailing tour. And the parasailing requires, we can say, customer equipment, and it's going to be new, and we're going to remove these, and we're going to use just the parasailing, and we're going to call this, we're going to need our boat, which is Ride with Passion, and this is resource-based. And now the duration is 90 minutes, and we have one boat. The difference is this is actually a seat-based activity because we charge per person, not per resource. So you'll see here, now there's 12 because we have 12 seats on our boat. And each booking is one person. So now we'll add this, and you'll be able to see down here in our parasailing one. Now it shows that our boat is there, and it's seat-based, and it's at a 1-to-1 ratio. Okay. Now we also need our employees to operate the boat, and we're going to add to an existing because they're going out the exact same time the boat is. And you'll see that the variation is here, which is parasailing 1, and that is that. And then now not everybody on our team is capable of doing the parasailing. So we have, let's say, these people are, okay? Now we're going to need any 2 of these employees, and this could be blank. So we need any 2 of these employees can go out. We're going to add that. So the max number of customers, we're going to leave that blank because it'll go based off the 12 seats, and we can handle the entire 12 seats. So if it's not necessary, you just leave it blank. And then we need any number of these 2 employees. So as long as any 2 of these people are available, then the tour will go out. If Jeff is not available, Ricky's not available, Diamond's not available, and Yardy's not available, but only Roshan's available, then the tour will not be able to go out because you don't have enough employees to operate it. And that's basically how that tour would be set up. Now, finally, we're going to get into one of our best-selling tours. And this is one of the main reasons, because we offer tours like this, that we couldn't actually book these out on the other software that we've tried. And I've tried over 10 of the most well-known ones, and none of them offer this sort of functionality, which is one of the reasons I started building this software, Tour Hub Pro. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start again, and we're going to add new, and we're going to change this from employees to customer equipment. Okay. And we're going to change this to our all-day action pass, and we're going to change this to flyboard. So what an all-day action pass is, I'll quickly explain to it what I'm doing, is it's 4 hours, and essentially it's one of our best-selling activities, and we bundled a bunch of activities together and created a package for people so that they can try a bunch of things out. And what that includes is 30 minutes of flyboarding, 30 minutes of jet skiing, 30 minutes of paddleboarding, 30 minutes of kayaking, and a 2-hour snorkel set rental. All right, so we're going to build this out here. Now, I'm going to show, we need one flyboard. This is resource-based, and this is 30 minutes, and it's a quantity of 1. Okay, so we're going to add this. You'll see here, if I click on this, flyboard's added. Now, what we also need to do is we need to offer one of our employees that can do the flyboard, because that requires somebody to train the person that's doing the flyboarding. So we're going to add an employee, and we're going to add to an existing, because that's going out at the exact same time the flyboard is going out. So you see how it says all day action pass 1? There's only 1 there, but I'm going to show you that this is labeled as all day action pass 1. So you know that it's going to that time, okay? And let's say all of our employees can teach flyboarding, so I'll add all of them here. All right, and we only need 1, and that's it. So we'll set that like that. Now we've added our employee, and again, we don't have max customers because we only have 1 of these. We actually have 2, but in this scenario, we'll say 1. So that's where you don't really need to touch this again. And we need any one of these employees can do the flyboarding. So you'll see how these are grouped together in the same variation line item. That's what VLI is. It's a variation line item. Next, we're going to add, and this is also resource-based. It's also 30 minutes, and we're going to add. And again, you'll see how easy this is to do is because I'm just going to, all I have to do here, everything is already set up, is I just need to change the equipment, and we're going to look for our kayak, glass bottom kayak. There we go. Add. And then I'm going to look for our paddleboard right up there. Add. So you'll notice how it has variation line item number 1. So the first item is flyboarding with one of these employees. And then for the jet ski, kayaking, and paddleboard, the guests just go out on their own. They don't require an employee. And you can see how these are all labeled. This is number 2. This is item 3. And this is item 4. And these are done one after another. Now, you'll also notice here, this popped up, okay? And this is not on any of these ones because these services, they essentially just have 1 variation line item. Everything is going out at the same time, okay? However, because this has multiple items in the same service, then this pops up. And this is such a powerful thing that no one else can do. And this is saying, is this in sequence or is this any order? And what that means is basically, if it has to be done in the exact sequence, then that means that once they do flyboarding, then they're going to do jet skiing, then they're going to do kayaking, then they're going to do paddleboarding, and they're going to do their 2-hour snorkel set, which I still have to add. However, if you set this to any order, this allows them to book multiple ones at the same time. So for example, let's say we run this package because it's 4 hours, we have a start time of 10 a.m. And since we only have 1 flyboard, then since we've only allocated 1 flyboard for this, what that means is if they were done in sequence, as soon as the 10 a.m. slot was booked, then that would not allow anyone else to book an action pass because that flyboard is out at 10 a.m. and this would need to be done in sequence. And since it's our limiting resource of 1 and there's only 1 available, then we would only be able to book 1 action pass. However, because this is done over a 4-hour period and a flyboard is being done for only 30 minutes, if you select any order, that would mean that you could book up to 8 action passes in the 4-hour window, because what it will do is, okay, let's say the first person booked, that flyboard's going out at 10 a.m. So it'll schedule the flyboard for 10 a.m. And then now if another person books, it will automatically say, okay, for person number 2, they're going to jet ski first at 10 a.m. and then they'll flyboard and then do kayaking and so on. And then if a third person books, it'll say the third person's going to kayak at 10 a.m., then it's going to paddleboard at 10:30, and then it's going to flyboard at 11 to 11:30. So basically, that will book up, and it goes through all the resources you have. It finds out the limiting resource, and it books that first. In addition to, if something is booked for a longer period of time, that also gets higher priority because those are harder to schedule. So our last activity here that we would need to add to this would be our snorkel gear. And we got our snorkel gear here. And this is also resource-based. And this is for 120 minutes, and they get 1. So we'll add that there. So now you'll see they have all these activities booked into one action pass, and you literally have the flexibility to create any type of tours you want, which you cannot do on any software, and actually have them booked and available when they actually are. Very powerful system here. And that wraps up our resources. This should give you the guidance and information of how to set up anything that you can possibly dream of on your own. And something else to mention about the employees is, we have many employees with different skill sets, and some can do kiteboarding, some can do kiteboarding surfing, some can do kiteboarding surfing wakeboarding. So you can really select who has the ability to do those services for each one of your variations, and really, again, allows you to be able to create the most complex tours that you may have. And to be honest, this is such a powerful tool because, for our all-day action pass, a little secret here, but essentially we're really only charging for a half an hour of jet ski and a half an hour of flyboarding, and we're getting $200 for that. And essentially, when people go paddleboarding and kayaking, we have lots of them, so it really costs us nothing. Same with the snorkeling. But what that actually does as well is that because it's included, now that's doing marketing for us while people are out paddleboarding and kayaking, because other people see, hey, there's people doing these other activities, and now they want to do it. And not only that, is you're getting $200 for an hour of jet ski time, which is a great rate to rent out a jet ski. So I highly encourage you to create packages where you can bundle things together that don't cost you much, but offer great value to your customers, and then you can increase your pricing to get more value from them. So very powerful thing here, and thank you for watching.